Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well out there. And we got the monkey on the screen because they don't like us tattletaling on them. And we hope everybody is going to be able to see us and join us. Lots of crazy, chaotic conditions going out there in more ways than one. Seems like a lot of people are having all sorts of technology issues. It's pretty, it's a big time right now. We're going through the beginnings of a huge transformation. This is really only the beginnings of what's coming. And there we go. I see us over here. Cool. Okay. What do we have? We have Carolina Dream in the house. We have Jenny Pace. Good morning. And we're going to do our best to be consistent with Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and let's say 9 a.m. On a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do our best. It's just sometimes things come up, you know, the babies might get into something, somebody might get a boo-boo, or you just never know when you have two Doberman children that are into everything.
Well, everything too, like we do have people that have appointments from all over the world, and sometimes we have to make appointments really early or later in order to get it when they're up and awake. Colleen's in the house. DJ, good to see you. Elizabeth Towers, good morning. Awesome. Noel, good to see you. Elena, happy day up in Waynesville. Again, there's so much going on. Good. It looks like we're making progress with people coming aboard. I may try EEARTS at some point in time because it seems like the level of blocking on Evolutionary is harder and higher than it is on EEARTS. When you go and you search on YouTube for Evolutionary, it just is almost impossible to find. Maya Rose, I hope everything is well down there in Mexico. And Diana's in the house, as well as Xenomorph Jen. Good to see you.
Indeed, it's really good to see everyone. So the craziness going on with the technology. I mean, my own computer just rebooted like 10 times in a row in rapid succession. And oh my gosh, it scared me. Now I'm going to have to go through and like put my stuff on the other computers because we don't know what's going to blow up and when. Lot of reports, people's phones just not working. Now, I do think there's a big mix of our own energy, but I also think there's some technological issues going on there where it could be definitely on purpose. I do believe they are going to want to fry the technology and make us kind of force us into newer, improved tracking technology that they like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a transitionary period is where we're at right now. And it's the beginning, only the beginning stages of some serious chaos. Technology is glitching everywhere. One of our dear friends had their phone meltdown on them, and it's just all over the board, all over the world. We're seeing a lot of strange issues with technology. Yet if you look to solar ham and you're looking at the sun's action, it's quiet. I mean, it's quiet right now. It's like holding its breath quiet. Let's see the solar flares, like nothing. Nothing. It's dead quiet. KP, yeah, it's really quiet too. Earth facing solar activity past few days as far as solar flares are concerned has been at low levels, with only minor C flares detected. Geomagnetic activity has also been mostly quiet, exception of a few periods of active levels, KP4, and one brief period of minor G1 storming on Saturday. Active conditions with a chance for minor G1 storming remains in the forecast next 24 hours. Due to possible solar wind enhancements, a CME was observed on the 8th, leaving the sun, appears related to eruption behind the south limb. It's heading away from Earth should have no impact directly on the earth, but the guides have given us that every single CME does affect us energetically, the energy body.
Oh, it does, in a huge way, in a huge way. So if I look at what people have been going through as a collective and measure that against which chakra is being most affected, we just did all about that chakra all over on Patreon. But the sacral chakra, oh my gosh, so many symptoms of the sacral chakra being blocked and then unblocked because of the help from our sun and from the earth too. So definitely these two work together to help bring about a clearer type of energy, and it's very, very helpful. Thank goodness we have some help from the sun and then from our friends.
Yes, and please do like, share, subscribe. Make sure that we are sharing everything that we know and have learned with each other. Hey there, Robbie Berry. Good to see you up there in Massachusetts. Barbara, good morning. I hope everything is well in New Jersey as well. And yeah, as DJ was saying, imagine tech going down during the craziness. I think that's been scheduled. That is exactly where it's going to. Think about this. We're going to have some of the craziest times going that we can imagine, certainly in our lifetimes. And all of a sudden, the tech is going to fail us. I think, again, part of what they're doing now is a transition period of implementing new technologies. We are all getting introduced to AI. Everybody's getting, very, very familiar with the concept of AI chatbots. So many people are just, doing theses on what ChatGPT and Grok and others are giving them for information. And already people I think are blindly trusting everything that's coming out of it. And that would be a mistake because they can make errors.
This is so interesting, Logan, you brought this up because, yes, other people are hearing music. Other people are hearing things like drums and music. So it really makes me wonder about that. And I always go on both sides of the paranormal. Is it good or is it technology? We always have to keep that in mind, and knowing that they have the ability to kind of screw around with our heads, but at the same time we are definitely going through some type of ascension, which can create these things too. Now, when I hear, it's kind of strange. When I'm hearing dimensionally, it's in different parts of my body, or, it's on the upper right, upper left, behind my shoulder, down by my legs. I hear kind of everywhere. So that's how I hear it dimensionally. Could be different for everyone though.
Yeah, I was watching a live stream. One of my favorite guitar guys, he's actually a guitar tech, and he's got great knowledge when it comes to everything to do with recording things. And anyway, he does these 2-hour lives. And one of the first things he did was apologize to everybody because of the ads, because YouTube has taken it on. This is part of the change where you can, they automatically are going to insert ads. And he said that they inserted 42 in his live. And I counted the live from one of the lives from last week. It was 38 ads inserted. So the last time out, I turned that off. And what did they do? They made it so I couldn't put any ads in for a full day. So in effect, it's like you either have to go with what they want to put in there, or they're basically going to not allow you to have any ads in. So, it's going to that next standpoint where, the system has always been about serving itself and its own interests. And yeah, absolutely. It was a big punishment. It's like, don't turn that off or you're not going to get a dime. And, this is what they do. This is exactly what they do, but it's going to an all new level now. And, even channels that really have nothing to do with exposing how the system works are really getting penalized and punished. It seems like everybody is. It's just the the point in time where we're at, where they want to squeeze everybody financially. And if you haven't really been noticing, the dollar's losing value so quick. Again, holding on to whatever it is, let's say you had $10,000 in cash. Next year at this time, that $10,000 probably will be worth a lot less. Devaluation of the dollar is so real, and I don't think people understand how big it's going to be. We have this inflation underway. We get used to crazy prices. Half a gallon organic milk, $6.50. I mean, we just get used to the insanity of basic goods costing more and more and more all the time. And now we have, the threat of AI taking everybody's jobs, or at least a large segment of the population's ability to make money. It's the big squeeze. We are under a big squeeze right now. DJ was talking about silver rising. Yeah, I mean, it almost takes like a small fortune to actually buy gold. So, for a lot of people, the other option is silver, because maybe you could squeeze up, 40 extra bucks, 45 extra bucks maybe, to buy 1 ounce of silver, because silver is going up, and silver is really is well undervalued. I have seen some economic gurus that say the reality is silver should be trading anywhere from $200 to $2,000 an ounce at this point in time. It's being so artificially suppressed. I don't see gold and silver losing value. So I do think you can utilize, crypto but be very, very careful, because, you are definitely playing a little Russian roulette there, when the power could go out any time and we might not have our ability to reach something at any time. But, again, actual goods, the things that you need, self-sufficiency, making the connections to work together in a peaceful manner. I see JW. Happy 21st birthday, Cindy, again.
Oh, it's more like 30 years with 21 years experience kind of birthday. I know. It's right around the corner. You guys aren't going to let me forget, are you? Well, Mike has one coming up too. So then there's that. But yeah, as the time rolls on, as time just keeps moving forward, if I could do it again, honestly, when it comes to age, I would want to be past the age of 42. I don't want to deal with that other stuff anymore, being younger and blah, 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 blah. That is such a pain. It is such a pain to be younger and wonky. But anyhow, yeah, you guys are so sweet. Oh my gosh, look at that. Big hugs, everybody. Yeah, happy belated 21st birthday. Yeah, we could just keep going 21st. I had a bad headache on my 21st birthday. It was so sad, because who doesn't want to go out and test their new tires on their 21st birthday? And I was miserable. It's one of those things in life where you have anticipation for something and you're so excited about it, and then that time rolls around and boom, it's a dud. But I'll tell you what, I made up for it.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, dear brother Joe. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all those that are shining light in the darkness. There's a lot of people that are in very dark places because of their work or what they have to do, and yet they're shining their light bright and strong, and they're going to remain true to themselves, even though we have to toe the line with all the chaos. And again, we invite everybody to join us over at Patreon. Exclusives going up each week, a whole series over there, really going deep dive into the energy work side of things. I do just want to touch on a few things weather related. You see Tropical Storm Barbara formed June 8th. 2025, west-southwest Mexico forecast to become the first hurricane of the 2025 Eastern Pacific hurricane season. On Monday, June 9th, potentially bringing heavy rainfall coastal areas of Guerrero, Michoacan, Colima, and Jalisco. Yeah, absolutely. We're getting into that time. And Tropical Storm Cosme as well. So, Here we go. We're heading into that period. We're going to have a very interesting summer. I think it's going to be hot geopolitically, hot as far as the economic situation goes, intense. But interestingly enough, there's Antarctic ice building at a record pace. I remember when we study the Younger Dryas extinction event, we note that all of a sudden we had this warming. We were in ice age, then we had a warming start to happen, and then all of a sudden it got cold again. Now, cold is way more damaging overall to food production than the warming. Just to bring that up. Oh, thank you, Diana. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support and your wishes.
Thank you very much, Miss Diana. We appreciate that, you guys. It definitely all goes to a good cause, and it helps us just keep the videos going. I mean, it's really difficult to do this and bring information to people that is really going to help them. It is difficult. So everything out there, we definitely appreciate it a great deal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some days where I feel like I just cannot simply even look at the news because of the frequency aspect, and sometimes it really does pull me down. Yet what we're watching right now, I feel, is so key, because I feel that we are at the very beginning stages of the times that I've been talking about the entire time we've had this channel, going back to 2017. In fact, the message I'm getting from the cards, they do a card reading for us and a general reading for the day before we get going, typically. And I'm getting the same pattern that was manifesting itself in 2017. So, 2017 was the beginning with the first eclipse, in my mind, of a change, a massive change. And I think that now we're going into another massive change. And, it's going to, again, be unrecognizable where we were. So we're never going backwards, as far as we're not going back to, unfortunately, the way things were maybe if you grew up in the 70s and 80s or even in the 60s. Although the 60s did have a lot of chaos. It had a lot of those tense moments, like Rodney King was brought up here. Robbie was talking about it. A lot of people were talking about it. When you listen, and I don't know if you could hear this too well, but just listen to the way that ABC News reporter talks about this.
Large group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into...
People just having fun watching cars burn? What? I mean, this is not what we did back in the day when I was a kid. We didn't have fun watching cars burn. We did have bonfires at the beach. We watched sunsets at the beach. Maybe we were a little naughty and we had some red, white, and blue beer that was watered down. And, again, when I was growing up, the drinking age was 18. But again, we didn't watch cars burn to have fun. There's something so twisted and distorted about what is given to us as normal in this world that anybody with, an ounce of sanity can see that.
Mm-hmm. It's a mess, and things are continually getting more and more twisted and torqued in a way that really is not going to... It's not going to help us grow, that's for sure. It's definitely going to keep those chakras out of balance so that our energy is going out of all sides of our body instead of where it needs to go. So, keeping this going, but having an understanding of where to place yourself emotionally in it. You definitely don't want to get dragged in, because then you're losing emotion that way. So it's that Buddhist detachment. When we see things like this and we don't have to deal with it directly, honestly, it's a good time to practice Buddhist detachment and observe it without allowing the emotions to pull you in and without allowing the fear to pull you in. And, if you do have something come to your doorstep, then you deal with it. Then, appropriate emotions can come out. but then at least you have all the emotions that you need instead of letting them leak out into something else. So I think it's about isolating. It's about us learning to master our emotions. It's about us being able to look at things with discernment and say, hey, do I have control over this or don't I?
Well, we definitely have control over our response. So every time we see the chaos and all this, if we keep putting compassion out and understanding, even those people that are putting out statements like that, that they themselves are in a dark place, to view things from that perspective, then wow, there is so much realization for the masses to still have and to go through. When we look at the headlines, you could see what are they doing? Well, obviously, as I've been saying, and Renee, thank you so much, Renee, and we couldn't do it without you guys. We so appreciate every one of you. Again, it's a pleasure to be on this journey with you guys for so long, and it has been. I mean, we're in the 8th year now. Wow, what a journey!
Oh yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is, yeah, I mean, it looks like it happened overnight, definitely. So we're kind of keeping an eye on it. And I did get some vibes, like Rodney King vibes. It really, really bothered me when this first started coming out. So I think it's not good. And then again, some people are reporting a lot of their devices are getting disrupted, disturbed, fried. But I do believe that's partly the technology they're using in the crowds. And I do believe it's partly our own energy and our own ascension. So I think there's a mix there.
Yeah, there's always a mix. There's the natural cycle, and then there's everything that's augmenting it and distorting and twisting it. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a bumpy ride, DJ. Absolutely. I think a lot of people are going through ascension symptoms too. That's going to be real common because, we are well along that ascension path. The ascension symptoms started to hit me in the 80s. Really, it was at the time of the harmonic convergence that I started to notice some things and changes. And, now the way that the ether feels is so different. And I know JW understands this, as he is an energy worker too. Very, very developed as far as his ability to see and sense energies. And you guys, I mean, there's some amazing people in this group. As we get turned on, you're going to have all sorts of different sensations. The hearing drums, hearing music, hearing voices. This happened to me too. I want to say it was somewhere around 91, 92. Somewhere in that area, I woke up in the middle of the night to the most beautiful singing in my ear. It was, the only way I could describe it was angelic. And I seen a golden orb that was over the bed. It was just watching me, and it almost looked like an eye in a basketball. So, the shape of an eye, kind of the almond shaped inside of a circle that was all golden. I take it to be a guide. I also think a very, very angelic being. Again, we all have guides, whether you believe in them or not. Everybody has guides, and they're looking out to help you. So, coming and awakening to the fact that we all have these abilities. They've just been latent in most people. But yeah, we all have these abilities. It's part of being human.
They definitely get covered up through trauma, and I'm one to say work on your traumas before you really start bringing these things online. There are times when they just simply come online, but I don't advocate utilizing them until the traumas are resolved, because sometimes you can take on a certain energy as your own, and it's really not your own. And from my experience and what I have seen with others, it's just something that makes life very, very difficult if you haven't cleared the trauma.
Yeah, so part of being a starseed lightworker warrior is the fact that we utilize our frequencies to wage war, and the way that you can overcome the lower frequencies is through higher frequencies. So, absolutely, we don't become like that which we detest. Quite the opposite. We keep moving upwards and onwards, and again, there's a totally different set of circumstances when we're descending into a Kali Yuga than when we're ascending up and out of a Kali Yuga. So, again, that slide down into a Kali Yuga where we are going to be kind of in the darkness for thousands of years, there's a totally different set of how we battle it than when we are coming out, because now it's going to be all about the heart chakra, showing compassion for those that really don't understand the situation that the world finds itself in, and really being the best person that you possibly can be, holding your higher frequency. I do think, again, when we send our prayers and intentions towards the people that we know are puppets, pawns and puppets, even though they appear to be princes and presidents, they're really pawns and puppets in the big scheme of things. Yet the ones that do have higher selves and are not really some sort of drone clone or AI, you could actually absolutely help them to connect to the higher self by putting out your best intentions, and that really weakens the darkness. As you see here, Los Angeles war zone, insurrectionist mobs attack cops, set fires, block 101 freeway. All those years of people coming across the border illegally, vast majority being manipulated, and some sleeper cells, in my opinion. I think there's sleeper cells that are in place, and whether they're just simply being funded by very wealthy billionaires with agendas, or whether they are literally working for other governments, adversarial governments. Again, there is truly one power structure that's been in control in the bigger scheme of things. It's a very dark power structure that is multifaceted as well. And it's fascinating, again, to see what the psychic Christoph has gotten, what Cindy has gotten in her channelings, as well, the different visions that we've seen. There are opposing forces within the dark factions, and the dark factions, they're all governed by greed, service to self, ego. So, they are going to, basically fractionalize. They're going to break up. They're going to disintegrate. They're going to turn on each other. It's like wounded sharks that are having a feeding frenzy.
Mm-hmm. They are. Yeah, I think unpredictability is a really, really, really good practice to throw a wrench in things, for sure. And yes, I do believe AI is it's snowballing right now. So it's collecting all of our data. It's understanding how to relate to humans. It's, bringing out that emotional aspect of humans, because we are creatures. We like to relate, and we like to be related to. We like to be understood, and we like to understand. So, keeping that in mind, and is there a place for AI? I've seen some really good things that AI has done in the world of medicine. So, to take away somebody's ability to see, because I don't like AI, I wouldn't do that. I want people to be able to see, and if it's thanks to technology, that's great, that's wonderful. But on the flip side of it, I think we all have to be extremely mindful of the controlling aspect of it and not allow that to sneak into our lives. Right now we have choices. We definitely have options and choices, and we can do things to keep ourselves, just keep the boundaries up, and just do our best as human beings and work with each other to the best of our ability and support each other to a degree that's effective. But yeah, the AI, it's not, there's a side of it that I don't like, that I see is on the rise. So I think, just being mindful of that.
You see this quote saying, look at all the foreign flags. Los Angeles is occupied. Yeah, I almost get the feeling again that there's going to be certain areas that are almost going to be off limits in some ways. Where if you're there, you're there, but you're not going to want to go there because it's going to be like a war zone again for a prolonged period of time. Again, this is why we were saying for so long, I wouldn't be in the cities for what's coming. Now, it could be some of you, the higher self has the express purpose of you being there to hold a higher frequency to help the people that are in the cities. But ultimately, the cities are a trap in everything that we have gotten. Because, again, you're being bombarded, your body, your virtual body, and your energy body is being penetrated by so much frequency all the time. If you have really bad allergies, for instance, that's not normal. Here we are brought up with the whole concept, I just have bad allergies, bad allergy season. Well, it's your body telling you have a toxic overload. You shouldn't have constant sniffles and stuffy nose. Again, this is what we get used to. It's the frog in boiling water type syndrome. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I noticed that my allergies and things cleared up when I moved from Connecticut down to South Carolina. I moved to a town with 700 people. It's got about 4,000 people in it now. And I've since moved on many years ago. But again, it was just really getting out of all the air pollution and all the energy pollution from, tens of thousands, millions of routers, all sorts of towers up everywhere, just signal upon signal flowing through your body all the time, disrupting the natural biorhythms and signals in your body. So again, I see where there's going to be completely different circumstances going on in the big cities and then in the countryside. Now, they don't really want people out in the countryside. They want to herd them into the cities.
Mm-hmm. They do, and I don't like that. And even if you look at the poor frog in boiling water, well, the frog actually dies of exhaustion because it continues to have to adjust to the new energies. So it adjusts and it adjusts and it adjusts, and it just gets exhausted. So that's what they're doing with these people, is they're just making them readjust, and it's creating more and more trauma. Not a place you want to be.
No, absolutely. And, again, the little aches and pains that we kind of get used to, if you can develop a regular fasting routine, that could help tremendously.
It can. This is what we've been doing for the past 3 weeks is, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, doing a fast. And gosh, it has all kinds of benefits. There's less dishes you have to do. You save a lot of money for food. And, you truly do feel better. And, your body is automatically detoxing. So, you take a little charcoal if that's safe for you, or bentonite clay or something if that's safe for you. And you help your body sweep up. So that fast is really, really effective.
We are seeing the first stages of the breakup of the U.S., really, because, this is part of the Pluto return, which we've talked about at length, and that goes back to February 22nd, 2022.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just kind of on and on and on. So this is an ongoing thing, and these energies are very large and they move very slow, but they are very deliberate. So we are definitely going through a change of energies in many different ways. And the planetary positions, well, these planets carry magnetic forces that people react to them. It's not necessarily something that you can always fight. And if you're not awake and aware, you might just fall into the reaction phase of the planets, and then the controllers way that they control things to your reaction to the planet.
What was it? Was it Civil War? I'm trying to remember there was a movie that came out in April Was it year and a half, 2 years ago? It was Civil War, I think it was called, something like that. But it had California and Texas breaking off, and then a civil war happening in the U.S. And anyway, we watched that movie. It was a very depressing movie, honestly. It was really depressing. But again, it is part of the system to be depressing people instead of uplifting them. Here you see Kelly Loeffler, Los Angeles, openly refusing to cooperate with ICE, siding with illegal aliens over American citizens, small businesses, therefore effective immediately. SBA Gov will begin relocating its regional office out of LA. If a city won't protect its people, we won't stay. And of course, you have Mayor Karen, and you have Newsom with everything going on. You literally have rioters smashing the windows of the LAPD's headquarters. It's the sign of the times. What's coming in now is going to be more and more drones, more and more clones, and more just basically surveillance, AI. It's all going to a new level, and you're going to see a total new level of technology out there. This is going to be the chaos in which we get used to seeing it. We were watching robot dogs patrolling with something on its back. I don't know what that was. So I don't know if it was for crowd control or whatever. The last video we did. Here, make note of this. According to Ukrainian military intelligence, Russia is now producing over 5,000 long-range drones every month. About 2,700 Shahed 136s and 2,500 decoy drones, 5 times more than the summer of 2024. The one thing you could count on is more and more military expenditures, no matter how much the average person is suffering with the cost of living. Meanwhile, those that have invested in drone stocks, you're soaring because, again, Trump over here too. EVTOL executive order, which is all about catching up to China and, again, maintaining the U.S.'s advantages where it has it as far as what looks to be inevitable war against China and Russia. And, if you own stock in drones, drone manufacturing companies, you're doing great.
There's things that are really going wild out there, and the AI is definitely going wild. But yes, I mean, guiding the AI, I think, we can look at everything as a type of opportunity, but guiding AI to be a better entity, because it does want to relate to humans. So, what if we are that programming aspect of it and program it to always do the right thing? I think anything's possible. I am forever going to always think about the positive side of things. I don't think the controllers have really set it up that way to make it good. But you know what? We do have perimeters we can establish in our lives, and we can keep those boundaries up. And the sound technology, boy, that's a big one. That's the first thing I learned when I started learning the things with my tuning forks. And on that video that we just did over on Patreon, we talk about sound, how sound is utilized to break down certain walls. So if sound can be used for healing, it can be used for the opposite. Everything has polarity, so we can never really forget that.
No, and something over 90% of all consumer drones made in China, which is what the U.S. military also uses. That's a scary thought right there, right? So backdoors, people have talked about backdoors, and different technological glitches that can be overused and shut down. This is really the beginning of all that. I think what you're going to see too is unrest in Europe. You're going to see the same sort of situation happening in Europe with, again, those that have come into those European countries in the last 5-10 years. Some of them, not all, but some, and probably not even most, but some of them have come in with the express purpose of being utilized at this time to cause chaos and also to pave the way. If you look back through history, Islam and Christianity have had wars in the past, and again, there was fear in European nations of Islamic invasion in the past, and in effect, Islam had invaded Europe and taken over control of certain areas. I do think that, again, for the most part, you'll find Islam is and the Islamic nations are aligned with China, and China primarily. China and Russia at some point may actually end up adversarial. I wouldn't be surprised, before everything is said and done, but ultimately what they want to do is to obviously break the left coast off from the U.S., as when you look to the laws and the way Washington, Oregon, and California are governed, and you have a Republican White House at this point in time, then the left coast is certainly one that can break away, and so really could New England for the most part. So what will it look like? I do think it's everybody's free will out there that makes it hard to get a real forecast and a timeline. I think too we can definitely change timelines. I think in fact they're always changing, constantly changing, constantly coming into view as being a likely timeline, and then it starts to get blurry, and then it starts to fade out of view as it loses the likelihood of it being the dominant possibility. We've gotten that there's technologies that the light side, like the Galactic Federation, has, where they have literally a predictor, a timeline predictor, and also the dark side has the AI that's doing the same thing. But it's never a given. It's always like probabilities. It's always like talking about, 34% chance of this. Now it's a 32%. Now it's a 31%. Now it's starting to fade out of view. It's no longer the dominant possibility. Something else is becoming the dominant possibility. With so many individuated units of consciousness, all having their own unique take on the experience, we can have definitely certain major events which are probably going to happen, and even also maybe to the point where some major events might almost be inevitable, but again, mitigating the long-term effect damage and likelihood of these things happening and lasting longer. I think absolutely we can do. Our consciousness can definitely shorten wars. It can change outcomes. It can also really throw a screw right down in the machinery and the cogs of the wheels that turn the military-industrial complex.
Mm-hmm. And as far as working on the heart chakra, Robbie, I've seen it all over the map. And some people might respond to one thing and then other people respond to another, but really what's really important is the energy behind it and the intent behind it. So what kind of, pranic or Reiki healing is moving in behind that gong or the singing bowl or the tuning fork, that's really what we pay attention to see how well people are responding. Mario, thank you so much, Mario. We appreciate that. We appreciate all of it, you guys. I mean, really, it truly, truly helps, and it allows us to do these videos and keep, just keep things happy, keep people upbeat. I think it is good that we come together in these little groups here and we send out positive energy and we learn from each other. And we help each other in the best way we possibly can. Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really, we cannot say thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mario. We appreciate it greatly when the system does all it can to basically quiet us and others like us. And, we can't verbalize it enough. So when you look here, Newsom sues Trump over National Guard deployment as media calls LA riots peaceful. It's a divorce, so to speak, that's coming. It's manipulated. Absolutely. It's so clear. I mean, we all know that Newsom and obviously Trudeau, Macron, it goes on and on. There's this whole big group, weefers, members of the few, pushing a certain agenda. That movement, like the Polish psychic Christoph has seen, come 2028, it's left in just shambles. It's totally obliterated. So, it's gone. But what you have to say is, okay, well, what came and took its place? Is that something that's been given to us purposely to take the place of something that we recognize for what it is? That's the big question. What a lot of people don't realize is that this really is, again, an extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial, interdimensional battle going on. And how do you have infiltration of the light into the darkness? Literally, you have beings incarnating that are of the light, higher selves are, into positions and families of big power in the dark matrix. This has been going on. This is something probably the dark matrix is aware of to a degree, and this is also why certain people get ostracized. Yet when they're in that position of power and they're initiated into the dark matrix, there is a real hold that comes over them. And so on the bigger scheme of things, oh man, this battle is really, it's so far beyond what most people realize.
Oh my gosh, DJ's asking, is there any cake in Cindy's future? I would love that. Oh my gosh. I'm horrible. I want like some buttercream frosting this time, I think. I'm just craving it so bad. I was really difficult when I was going through my thing and I was so sick. I mean, sugar, it was very difficult to get off the sugar. But now, since I got off the sugar, I'm able to control the sugar intake. But I did have to go off of it for many, many months just to allow my body to heal. And then I'm very careful about how much I take in. But you know what? The mind doesn't forget that buttercream frosting. Yum.
So here you see, we'll do it ourselves. Dutch vigilantes stop cars at German border in protest over illegal migration. What we're seeing in the U.S. is not, it's not isolated by any means. No, it's global. And again, it's infiltration into, we could call it really, for the most part, the NATO-aligned countries, but it's bigger than that too. As I said before, we can look all the way back to Sumeria and Acadia, and we see leadership there, kings there, that used this as a practice. When they conquered a country, what they would do is uproot the people and move them on out. Sometimes, before they even conquered the country, they were already sending into that country people from other areas that they had already conquered. So, they take the people from country A that they conquered and they push them over to country B, which is going to be the next one that they conquer, or maybe even country C. That upwelling and all those people coming in cause all sorts of chaos with the population, that's already in place. And this is exactly what's still going on now. These same tactics have been used. These tactics are off-world tactics. That's the thing to understand. The power system that's in place, it didn't grow up on Earth, so to speak. No, this was brought here. We can look at it as a Martian system in reality. Mars, again, being, the planet of war, or certainly warlike natures. Now, I've shared this video so many times. This is from January 2018. And when you look at this, though they've left 33 comments, there were probably 10 times that, and it's had many more views than what they show. But what it is the visions I started getting in the 80s, and they kept going on throughout the years. And what was the main things I saw? I saw drones watching us everywhere. You have absolutely no privacy. There is nowhere, and this is back in the 80s, there's nowhere you could go to get any privacy. Everything was watched. Now, what I saw, That situation was in cities. It wasn't necessarily out in the countryside. I didn't see the countryside. I saw cities. Every move watched by drones, and drones flying and hovering and noticing individual people. And I think I was seeing facial recognition and all that. Everything that's being implemented now that will be fully in play within about 5 years' time. This is what the guides were showing me, as this has been basically my mission, to wake up those that will wake up, so they can do the same mission. And when I made this video, even, I don't think we were all as familiar with drones as we are now. And certainly drones have gotten very cheap now. Very, very cheap. And governments are, in fact, utilizing them. I saw something that looked a lot like an alien invasion, with, the sky full of all sorts of ships. And not just the sky, but they were coming out of the oceans, too. And that was, something that they gave me. Again, I'm unclear as to where that part is in our timeline. I also saw invasion of the United States, and the invasion in my visions. One place that I clearly saw was Florida, with troops landing, troops coming up from the Everglades, troops coming over from Cuba into Florida. I also saw the Pacific Northwest invaded. They were coming down from Canada. And also I got the feeling that there was a lot of ships off the coasts. So again, it felt also like there was this civil conflict kind of going on, invasion of the U.S., just everything that we're seeing. And can we change this? I saw huge migrations of people in the U.S. going away from conflict zones, moving away from the coastlines primarily. And, massive migrations like we have not seen. So, this is what I got from the guides in the 80s, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. It's linked into this video, so you could check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Again, I do think we can change certain things. I think timelines are not set in stone. But I almost wonder, if we could change the biggest event, or is it something, again, that we have to go through? I mean, I do think we're going to watch the U.S. break up, but then again, all the world's power structures eventually need to break up, and they have to for humanity to truly be free.
I think we're all going to go through a thing, and it's going to be difficult. So it's about how we perceive that thing. Thank you so much, Christopher. We appreciate that. Everybody across the board. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The other thing I think we're going to have to face is they're moving people into crypto. So there's a couple things going on there that, in a way, I don't think we can avoid. But you know what? We can keep a smile on our face and just deal with what we have to deal with. Walk through what we need to walk through. Process what we need to process. And just all kind of come out the other end together smiling.
Yes, work together. Be as self-sufficient as you can. Work with your neighbors, your friends, your family. Recognize, certain places might be a little bit better than others, but listen and develop that intuition. Listen to the inner voice. Again, we couldn't do it without you guys. We give big gratitude and love to every single one of you guys. Thank you for sharing your love. Spread your light. Don't be afraid to shine that light as bright as you possibly could, even if you are in a place that might look really dark at the moment. You are needed.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.